Welcome to the Awakened Sober Podcast, a podcast about life in recovery through Christ. My name is Derek. To my right, we have Pastor Shane.
Hello, everybody.
Across from me, Jimmy James.
Yo, what's up?
And the infamous Swanky.
Schwanky one.
Swanky. Hi,
What's
Swanky.
up, Pastor Jeremy?
Schwanking it around.
All right. Oh,
So,
go ahead.
I'll do it, but you sound dead.
I did.
So, so how was everybody's week?
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's been great since
It's-
last podcast.
It's
week.
been hot as Hades out there, but
Has it really?
it's been warm.
I was gone and enjoying Atlanta.
Oh, I'm sure it was nice and cool down there, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It actually was,
really.
because Friday into Saturday, I went about 4:30 in the morning and went to spend the night or the rest of the evening waiting for the doors to open to Blade Show. And it was nice and cool. So, yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
Was it you and like 3 other guys?
No, it was a couple hundred guys out there.
A couple 100,000.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people.
Was
so
the
it's
place
nice.
called Caligula?
Cobb Galleria.
Say,
Close
Atlanta's
enough.
like one of the top shows of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, Blade Show is the show. Atlanta is the original, and so it's a lot of fun. You just go and pocket trash and some beautiful knives everywhere.
Did you come back with some pocket trash?
I did not
Pope
even
Catholic?
score. I didn't score one lotto, one knife. Well,
Really?
okay, I got one knife, but it was from a buddy's company that there's a little blemish, so it didn't really cost me anything for this knife. But no custom knives, no pocket trash for me, no pins for me.
Did your wife win anything? Because typically
No.
she wins a lot.
Right.
Right?
We
He's the
entered
winner
a
in this family.
yeah, we entered a bunch of lottos and won nothing. And I mean, she came home with a couple things, but really, it was just a good time to disconnect, to fellowship, and have a good time.
Good.
Very nice.
So it's definitely better than Hades.
Right. Which is good.
This is true.
I had my goddaughter yesterday. That was always fun. I turned the sprinkler out in the front lawn, and she ran through it like we used to do back when we were kids. That's what we did, but it was wow.
Good old Freya,
Yeah, girl.
and she is definitely getting big.
Yes, she is.
I told you about there's a CBS TV show called Ghosts. It's a comedy. Of course, it's a remake from something that they had in England from the BBC. But one of the characters is a Viking, and he's been dead for 1,000 years. And at one episode, he just screams out, "From the loins of Freya!" And I fell off the couch. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, she's a little young for that, but, give her 20, 30 years.
The God of War video game. She's a major character right now.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, she's a major character when it comes to Vikings for sure.
Right,
Valhalla.
right. Yep.
So
Cool.
what are we talking about today?
I was
Today's-
hoping you'd tell me.
You were hoping I'd tell you, Derek, Jeremy.
Talking about recovery, what it is, and the different fellowships, different avenues of it, and what it's done in our life, both the addiction recovery and recovery outside of addiction. Right?
Well, all
know.
righty.
Left.
That's my question, right?
Right.
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 That sounds true. So
True enough.
For those watching on YouTube, please subscribe, like, and share this so that we can spread this message of hope to as many people as possible. Also, please leave a comment and let us know your favorite parts of today's message. If you're listening on Spotify, please subscribe, turn on your notifications so you never miss a new episode, and share the podcast with as many people as possible.
Hey, well, he's like a professional now.
Right.
I like his little announcer voice.
We have a new toy, so let's try it out.
Yes, shout out to whoever got. How did we come into this thing?
By returning the one that we bought just recently, but Brent actually stepped up and, oh my goodness, now I'm drawing a blank
Dude, we need to give him a
on
call.
Roger's name. So Roger and Brent, both of them, chipped in
I
because
don't remember the
they-
guy's name. Roger was on my mind, but no, it wasn't. Oh, wait, it was Roger.
Yeah, so Roger and Brent, Roger walked up. We were at celebrate recovery one night, and he came up afterwards and said, "Hey, this is my allowance. I want to give you it, so that way you guys can get your new soundboard." And I'm like,
Oh, what a guy.
there we go. And
Yeah.
so as soon as he did that, and Brent, when me and
knew
Brent
I
were
liked you.
talking, I'm hanging up the phone with Brent, and next thing I know, it says you received money into PayPal.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, all right, well, let me order it. And I'm leaving for Atlanta this weekend, but I'll have it delivered to Jeremy's house.
Yeah.
Well, it's hopefully our listeners can tell the difference because we can tell the difference.
Definitely
sure hope
does a
so.
difference.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
there's good difference. It's keeping us alive.
Is that a
Oh my
heartbeat?
God.
That was a little heartbeat.
Yeah, it's
We
pretty
got
good,
those
yeah.
pretty buttons to
Nice.
push now.
And then, of course, we've got everyone's favorite.
Yeah,
I can't wait till he gets more things downloaded, though.
I can.
Grades.
I can.
The old,
Maybe they won't be as loud and obnoxious whenever we do it. So
Oh, no, they will be.
they will be.
Yeah,
All right.
So
they've got to be.
we figured while we were gone, because we want to jump into mental health coming up soon.
Yes.
But we didn't want to do it a disservice. That was for sure. So we figured talking, and let's get back to the basics of recovery. And I love the definitions of recovery. I just love definitions, period. So where'd I go? Where'd I go? A return to normal state of health, mind, or strength. I guess normal is a key word there. I just don't know what that means.
It's a setting on the dryer.
I don't know any normies at all. Or the second definition, the action or process of regaining possession or control of something stolen or lost.
Ooh.
Now that one, I mean, I like both of them. You know, a normal state of health, mind, or strength, but there's some about action and process. You know, just because I love the definition of process.
I was going to say it's because of process.
Yeah, I love the definition of
Recovery
process.
is a process.
Did you
Right.
define that word like on our second podcast?
Process, yeah.
Would you like to? Because I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard the second podcast. Would you
No,
like-
because it sucked. Totally sucked, yeah.
It did not
Yeah.
suck.
So, what the definition of process?
Yes. Would you like to give everybody the definition of process?
A series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
So
for
if you was to put
normal
that
or
definition with
normalcy,
this one,
yeah. Normalcy? Let's
Not the
talk about
normalcy.
that, yeah. The condition of being normal, the state of being usual, typical, or expected.
Hmm.
yeah, I don't like it.
So anybody could be normal. Just, I mean, like we expect Derek to be a certain way. So would that be normal
And
then?
he never disappoints, does he?
Right. And he never disappoints.
Right. And if he isn't who we expect him to be, that's outside of the norm.
Yes.
Right.
That's when
And
it's
that's where my accountability team comes in and checks me on it, right?
right.
Thank you.
That we do like to do. So are you going to go through those as we, whoops, let me hide that. I was like,
It's nothing bad, folks. Just it's not.
it's
It's just
not.
a drink that's not sponsoring us.
Yeah, it's
I doubt if we'll ever ask them to, because it gives you
Yeah.
wings.
Well, no, Shane. When you sent out the text the other day, probably from Atlanta, you asked a couple questions, and I was like, I'm going to ask the guys in my transitional living these questions just to kind of see where they're at. And the guy with the most sobriety, I think, is at 69 days. So
congratulations.
answering these questions, I thought was pretty interesting from their point of view, and then we can get it from people who have some more time.
So if you want to start with them, then we go, and then, yeah, because I also want to
Good.
hear from our listeners
Okay.
that hopefully have a wide range of sobriety as well, because just some fun topics to really
Leave
cover.
a comment
Yeah.
after you hear the questions.
I have questions for them right at the very end.
Oh, good. The first question I asked of them was, what is recovery and what does it mean to me? One of the gentlemen, Bill, says recovery is crucial to sobriety. It's the time you put in working with others and your sponsor. The harder you work on recovery, the better your odds. Recovery is gratifying. You will notice change and a new person developing.
Yeah,
I like how he separated sobriety and recovery.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm glad you guys picked up on that.
How much clean time does he have?
69 days?
Bill.
Or is that? Oh, that was.
No, I wrote them down on a different sheet of paper, and I left that sheet of paper at work because every morning they do their check-ins and their Fanos. I
Yes.
started doing Fanos. So they do their Fanos and they give me the day sober, and I can't remember. Everybody's around 60 something days, with the exception of one person.
Do we want to give a quick definition of Fanos before we move on?
So yeah, Fanos is a daily check-in. It's really good for couples, but you could do it as an individual. It's feelings, affirmations, needs, ownership, and
Struggles, sobriety,
struggles. Yeah,
struggles/sobriety.
and that's what it is. It's a way that especially for couples, that they could check in at the end of a night, and you go through your Fanos, and you're not allowed to say anything back. So you could communicate your feelings, your wants, your needs, all these things, and they can't respond.
For 24 hours.
The minimum is 24 hours. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I do.
So that way, if it's really important to see it and look at your face, and that's what it's designed to stop. Because if our wives come to us and they want to say something, we're listening to react, not listening to hear them.
Au contraire, mon frere.
Oh no.
I have studied under the great KS, who taught me the most important question. Tell me more about that. But also, I've also, as a personal note, just, everyone else is different, right? I like to listen. So I listen. I really work hard at not responding, or not reacting, but
There you go.
responding.
But most don't.
Right.
So especially with the couples that we deal with, myself and Christina, none of them listen to actually hear.
Right.
And try to understand what the other is saying. So this gives them that opportunity. And if it's important to them, they'll remember it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, it's not important. It's not important enough to have that response too.
Right.
So it's just a really neat tool. So that's the Fanos.
Next one.
Yeah.
So I have 4. I only have 4 guys in the house right now. So Scott Z, shout out to Scott Z. Recovery to me is not using, and more it means I can be a role model to my kids and friends. Oh, I already did Bill, didn't I? Ryan H. Shout out to Ryan H. Recovery to me is restoring myself to sanity through Jesus. Recovery to me is at the top of my list of priorities. Without recovery at the top of my list, I lose everything below it.
Amen to that.
Wow.
I like that.
He's been at this for a while. Or he's been listening very well.
He listens well.
Yeah.
Finally.
Is he?
Finally.
Is this his first trip through 10th trip?
It's his
through?
second trip.
Nice.
Yeah.
And he's already talking like that.
Well, the first time he sat in my office and said, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to prove you wrong. My self-will keep me going. And I said, I'll see you soon.
Yep. We'll have a spot ready for
I
you.
saw him soon. So he is one of those that is the role model for everybody else. And I'm not trying to toot his horn right now because I know he listens, but he's the one that his actions, he backs up his words with his actions. And it's not the same person he was 4 or 5 months ago. So
Very cool.
That's awesome. Yes.
and then last we have Rob. Recovery to me means being able to live a sober life without needing or using to live a life on a day-to-day basis. Having a clear state of mind, being able to be content and at peace with myself.
Content is the thing that stood out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Contentment is tough. What do you teach these guys in the house, Jeremy?
Yeah. Stuff.
Hey,
Is it proprietary?
for sharing.
Is that what- yeah. It's trademarked or copyrighted. You can't share it with us.
No, we, it's kind of been especially with the unique group that I have now. And I say unique is it's just really small, and we've kind of struggled to keep people in. We've had some chaos in the house, and the guys that are still there have experienced all that chaos, and they've really, you could see the growth from that. And that's good to see. And I mean, I had people that wanted, 2 guys were like, I'm done with this. I can't. And then boom, well, I need to extend it another month, don't I? I was like, that's not my call.
Yeah, so I like what you're obviously what you're teaching the guys there. I wish you could share it. It wasn't like top secret stuff,
Right.
but
No,
Right,
that's
well,
what I was getting at. It's these back to today's topic, back to the basics. And that's really what we're doing is I'm just keeping it basic, simple. And this is what you have to do. And we got Derek as a role model, Mike's at well, you are a role model, and I don't look like it, but
Hey, I work good with the Puerto Ricans and Mexicans.
no, no, jeez.
see the things that we expect.
and that was one of them.
Just talked about that. Where was I at before?
Well,
Oh, just back to the basics. And I've taken the guys now to outside meeting because things kind of got chaotic. And then the guys came and I just told them about my home group on Saturday morning, and they all showed up. And so they get to see that I'm actually doing this thing and not just telling them to do that. And so, and it's not, let me go back. It's not about me, but I try to teach them by my actions and my words. So,
words are important, but so are our actions.
Actions are very important.
So let's ask that question, Derek. We haven't heard from you much since you couldn't hear.
Yeah, right.
So, what does recovery mean to you?
Well, the funniest thing, right? Okay, so if I could share my amount of time, I'm going on 59 months of sobriety. In the first year of my recovery, I just thought it was about being sober. I'm not gonna lie, I did not realize there was so much more to recovery until it was actually pointed out to me that I wasn't doing it right.
Well, that was awful nice of them. You're not doing it right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm appreciative of my team that, my accountability team that was finally like, dude, something ain't right with you, or you're not doing the proper recovery. And obviously I was not.
So, what does it mean to you then now?
Recovery to me is surrendering myself to my higher power, to God, whatever you want to call it, and just really recovering from all the crap I went through in life and working through those issues and building through those issues better in my life altogether. Full on recovery.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Very nice.
Jimmy James?
What was the question? So
What-
I've been
what
trying.
does-
I've been trying to be present with everyone else, and
What does recovery mean to you?
what does recovery mean to me? It means to not do what I did yesterday or years ago. And so I use the tools that I learned by going through the steps, along with daily time with God, Bible reading, journaling. Now I can put that in on my recovery resume.
Is it still going?
Yeah,
I love it.
Still going. Yep. And still going to meetings because I want to make sure that that is part of it. Not only for my own sanity, but just for the sanity of those around me.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate it.
Because I tell you, I'm the kind of person where I love conferences. I love little teachings. Saturday we had a thing about the Enneagram.
Oh, Enneagram, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was enjoying that. It was actually very interesting to me. And then as we're going through it, the people are like, "Well, there's a quiz. Go ahead and take the quiz if you want to, but don't think of this as the be all end all, right? Because it's something that you're going to probably want to do over time." Well, I'm doing the quiz and I'm looking at it, I'm going, I get my number back. It was a 7. And I thought, we haven't gone through 7 yet. Well, let's wait and see. So as soon as I'm done, they go over the things that 7s do. And I'm like, oh crap, that's me. Are you kidding me? No, that's not. It is. It was me. I don't remember what it is right now. I've got it in my backpack, but
Yeah, I've never taken one of those. We always used disc back in the day.
yeah,
The disc profile. So
it was interesting.
yeah.
Like, cause I don't know my what's the really popular one,
Myers Briggs.
Myers Briggs. I keep thinking Myers Squibb, and I'm like, I think that's a
Myers-Briggs.
drug company. But yeah, Myers Briggs. Like I've never taken that either.
Like somebody off SpongeBob.
It does Myers Squid.
So
He's the banker of the underworld there.
The underwater.
So Jeremy, since you brought that for all your guys, what does recovery mean to you?
That's why I brought it for all the guys, so I didn't have to answer the question. See what I did? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Deflection don't work.
That's funny right there.
Oh gosh, I needed that. Whew.
Recovery to me, keeping it simple, it's a journey, not a destination. Progress, not perfection. Do the next right thing. That's it.
So recovery is slogans.
Yes.
Recovery is all about slogans.
So I'll give you an example. So
Yes,
I
thank
went
you.
I went to Sam's the other day. You guys are ignorant.
You're just now figuring that
I
out?
know. I went to Sam's the other day, and you could scan and go, which I love,
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way. And I wish
Best thing
I
ever.
wish the other big warehouse store did the same thing, but they don't. Anyway, I do it, and I picked up along the way. I picked up a thing of those tender steak strips, which I love, and I was like, I'm not gonna get those, and I thought I put them back on the shelf. I do my scan thing, go out, get to my truck, start loading everything in, and I'm like, I didn't pay for these. I went in and I looked at my receipt and I'm like, would they really know? It's $14. Steak strips. How are they going to know? They're like, I can't not do that, right? So I pull up to the front and I go in, and the guy's like, can I help you? And I was like, yeah, I didn't buy these. I did the scan and go, and I didn't buy them. And he goes, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, you could just keep them. I'm like, I didn't pay for them. And so I'm giving them back. And he's like, thank you for your honesty. Like, he didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Not many people do that.
yeah.
But you didn't scan them and take them home then?
No, because I didn't want them. And I didn't want to have to do another scan and go and then have to go back through the thing. And so, but it was Saturday. So, but that's like something like I would not have done prior. You know, I would have been like, oh, okay. I probably would have seen how much crap I could get for free in my cart without getting caught.
Well, yeah, because they only check
Three
or four
things.
items.
Yeah, but they hit it with the scanner. And then, you know, you're screwed if they hit that one.
They scan that one thing. Yeah.
That would be funny if it was that one thing. Like, wait a minute. I promise you I'm not trying to steal that $1 item.
Well, beef jerky is
mean
definitely not $1.
The 65-inch TV that he tried to walk out with.
Right.
So that's, to me, that's progress, not perfection. I mean,
Oh, that sounded like do the next right thing.
or do the next right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, both
Both and.
and.
Not bad. Always good if we could hear an example.
What does it mean to you, Shane?
For me, it was all about life change. I mean, how can I go from using people to serving people? How do I make me better and make my family better? Right? Because it all starts with me. Once I started getting healing, the rest of my family wanted healing. And so I was able to work on me, which just trickled down to them. But seeing the life change, quitting using was the easiest part of the journey. And I mean, we say it all the time, but it honestly was. Not using was the easiest part of this journey. Making a financial amends, getting right in the head, starting to finally remember things, which sometimes I still forget, but nowhere near like it was. We could be mid-sentence and I wouldn't know what we were talking about. So my brain had to heal.
Do what?
I had to heal. All them things had to happen.
Is he still talking?
Yeah.
See how easy it is for me to just ignore people. And I can just keep on going anyway.
I see that. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Here, let me take
I'm used to
notes
being on
that
stage.
real quick.
So yeah, I mean, it was really all about life change in the end.
The funny thing is, though, is teaching others, how to, about recovery and that, the majority of the ones I seem to speak to, they just think being sober is it. If I leave here and not use, I will be okay. Brother, let me know how that works for you, man. It's because it's really,
That's why he'll come back in another few days.
yeah, we're within the next month. It's been that like we're in the season of returns right now. Let me just put it to you that way.
I say all the time, if you find an easier, softer way that you don't have to drink and everything in your life gets better, write a book and come back and tell us about it.
Right?
Just, I mean, share it with everybody. If you figure it out, come back and tell us.
Yeah.
If you get your cure card, let me know how it's done. Because I'm definitely interested.
Exactly.
So my question would be, are you ever recovered from anything in this?
Okay, wait. Are we gonna go down that slope right now? Are we gonna do that?
And I don't mind doing it.
We're gonna do it.
I love doing it.
We're gonna do it.
That's why
Um,
recovered versus recovered.
This
So-
is our religious minute here.
So do you
Can
mean
you be saved and delivered by Jesus Christ?
so? And that's going to be the question, though. What do you mean? Are you ever recovered? Because I would say you could be recovered, but you're never going to be healed or cured, or you're not going to be cured. There's going to be a difference. We'll experience recovery. We'll experience being recovered, but not cured. And so I don't know. You'd have to give me what you mean by that.
Is it okay for, and I'm just asking the question, is it okay for somebody to say, yeah, I've recovered from alcoholism or I've recovered from drug addiction?
I think all three of us that you're asking that question to are thinking, heck no.
No. And there's nothing I hate more hearing somebody say that I celebrate recovery from whatever it is they're dealing with.
If they mean they don't struggle with it anymore, then saying that is probably one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. So I had a conversation with somebody a couple of weeks ago that struggles with mental health, and they said, well, my mental health don't come out anymore, so I don't really struggle with it. I said, quit taking your meds.
Yeah, right.
Quit taking your meds.
Right.
Your meds are what helps you.
Mhm.
That's what makes sure that your mental health stays in check. If you quit taking meds, so that means if you're cured from your mental health issues, you could quit taking meds. And once you stop taking meds, you're going to know if you're cured or not. People say I'm cured or I'm recovered from my addiction, but yet you may not struggle with it now because God took the obsession, the compulsion, and the desire from you. That's the miracle. That's what God did for you. Remove the obsession, the compulsion, the desire. But if you put that in your body, what do you think is going to happen?
Nothing good.
Yeah, you're going to go right back,
Yeah.
right where you left off, and it's gonna go out of control. We know this. Jesus warned us about it 2,000 years ago. And
Didn't
so
we talk about that last week? One demon leaves your body, 7 more come
Yeah,
in, and they're
that's
going to
right.
be worse.
he goes out and gets his homeboys and come back and kick it, and they're worse than he is. They're louder, more obnoxious. But that's what always. Well, I don't struggle with that anymore because I've been sober now for 10 years. Well, put it back in your body. I promise you, you still struggle with it. The thing that is, God has stepped in and relieves you the obsession, compulsion, and the desire, but you can't put it back in your body. Part of what we are told to do is we must die to ourselves. And if we're willing to die to ourselves, to our selfish desires, then we can experience that freedom. But play with fire, you will get burned.
Yes, you.
There are, yes, any of the national team, anything like that, none of them ever use it.
Right.
But a lot of people have gotten fancy with their introductions instead of keeping it simple, stupid. Let's go with another slogan.
Let's do it. Well,
I like to keep it stupid simple.
and the worst part is, for Celebrate Recovery, you are supposed to write your testimony and then send it to wherever you're going to give your testimony. And I think I've talked about this. I knew a guy who sent them to within 150-mile radius, right? And he got 2 back saying, here's the testimony worksheet on how you're supposed to write it. And let's redo that. I've seen some very terrible ones. In fact, someone who I would call a good friend at this point, when he first wrote the first paragraph, I'm talking sentences, was, I've struggled with this and this and this and this and recovered from this, and just it went on and on and on. And I'm like, dude, one or two things is probably going to be perfect.
So why do we only do one or two things? Right now, folks, if you don't know, we're talking about Celebrate Recovery, how we introduce ourselves. We introduce ourselves. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus that struggles with addiction and mental health. My name is Shane.
Hi, Shane.
That's the introduction, but give us, why do we only do one or two?
We only do one or two because our focus is on the newcomer. And anything more than that, or any time that we say we've been delivered from, or even we celebrate recovery from whatever, that tells the newcomer that, oh, they don't really have to do a whole lot. They just have to believe in Jesus, I guess. I don't know.
Just show up on Thursday nights and it's about to happen.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's one, if we have 15 things that we're saying up there that we still struggle with, then it's, does this program work?
Right.
If we start saying what we've been delivered from, cured from, and celebrate recovery from, now they're lost and they don't know how to introduce themselves.
Correct.
And then if they don't experience that deliverance, then I must not be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's awfully confusing for a newcomer, especially if they're not a believer yet.
So I wonder if part of it is someone in their twisted viewpoint thought to themselves, well, if I show the newcomer I'm delivered from drugs and alcohol, but I still struggle with codependency, that shows that the program works. Or I'm just saying, maybe this is someone's thoughts on that.
I think it's ego driven.
Yeah. Ego.
Edging God out.
Yeah, I think it's, let me one up the person that did the introduction before me, and let me show you how, because I'm a faithful, unbelievable, the one and only follower of our High King.
Pleasure to meet you.
It's, yeah.
I love the music that you got. So Reclaiming Hope. We're a place that families could come, they could experience healing together, because we're getting ready to get into this to where everybody has the same opportunities for recovery. You know, so many times we leave the family out, and to us, it's the most important piece is the entire family getting healing. They're down there holding hands, which is kind of strange.
I saw that.
So let's go through, I guess I'll give you the mission. Reclaiming Hope Recovery Centers, where people struggling with substance use or mental health issues and their families can find hope and healing by being anchored in recovery and Jesus, so that the ripple effect will empower and change others' lives, both in the community and the world. And that's what we're ready to fight the fight. I couldn't quite hear him, but
That time it was okay.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's it in a nutshell. I mean, we'll do one day, maybe we'll just talk about what all it is, because it would take us a long time to really go through it and talk about everything that we're going to be doing. We're going to offer counseling services, individual, both for couples. We're going to have services for kids. We're going to have a landing program, of course. Find a way to open a CP in there too, celebration place. So landing is going to be recovery for teens. We'll also have teen AA, teen Al-Anon, and yoga. How about that? Yoga, so that way you could get right in the mind.
I thought he said Yoda.
No Yoda. But yeah, we'll be able to.
You will be.
We're going to be a one-stop shop where people could come in when they get out of treatment. One of the things that we do to ourselves is get very overwhelmed of, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, and I have to do this. How do I get all these things done? And I have to go to 5 different places to do all these things. And they'll be able to come to one place and get them all done. So it's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Should be June 30th and moving into a place right here in Lake St. Louis.
Nice.
Instead of running it out of our house, because it's weird having everybody come to your house to do it. You can't it's like, when am I on? When am I off? So
You
it's
need
so
that separation. Yeah.
yeah, you really do. So,
Yeah.
but we've been running a lot of the counseling services out of the home as of right now. But pretty soon we'll have a building and we're going to have some fun.
Perfect.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to work there.
Me too.
All right.
All right.
So where are we at now?
We're back to talk about what recovery is and what it means to us and the different things. I think when we took off, we were talking about the newcomers and how people were introducing themselves.
We
to
have
certain
mentioned the
meetings.
newcomers a time or two.
Yeah, we got off at a tangent as we sometimes do because Jeremy had to ask, do we recover? Yes, we recover, but we're not recovered.
Ooh.
I mean, I knew the answer. I just wanted to ask it.
Yeah.
You know?
But I figured
Content,
this was a day of
no.
slogans. We do recover.
But we're not recovered.
We do recover.
We
Together.
do recover.
You can only see how I recover.
Happy are those that celebrate recovery.
Oh, geez, let's not go there.
So what fellowship here does everybody attend?
Celebrate recovery,
Celebrate recovery.
and then
AA.
meeting AA on
Yeah.
early on Wednesday mornings.
Yeah, you did start going to.
I do. Yeah.
Good.
The 7 a.m. meeting?
Yep.
Good.
Good.
Only once a week though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you go to Celebrate Recovery and you go to AA.
Yes.
And Brenda?
Brenda. Yes.
Yes, love her.
Yes. She's a sweetheart.
Yes, she is.
Counseling, I'm assuming?
No,
No.
no, she's been chairing that 7
Does
a.m.
your wife
meeting.
know about Brenda? I mean, what? Oh, she chairs the meeting.
She's,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, you guys are just talking like everybody should know what you're talking about. So you have to really be
That
careful
is
with
true,
that.
Yes. So
Yeah,
there
'cause
is.
I didn't hear.
There is a meeting at 7 a.m. in my neighborhood that I go to on Wednesday mornings on my day off.
Right in your neighborhood? Do you walk there?
I could. I mean, I won't.
Is that the 212?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's a ways.
That's that's not in your
That's
neighborhood.
that's not in your neighborhood,
I mean, I could ride my bike there. I'm not that old yet.
dude. He wouldn't make it down to the end of Bryan.
Whatever, man. I used to.
I'd be beating a lot
You-
faster
yeah,
than
you
that.
It would
fast
be beating a
car.
lot faster, yeah.
I rode that bike down to Walmart, and it's not that much farther.
Oh, wow.
So Celebrate Recovery is where I spend all my time these days. I do love NA, Narcotics Anonymous. I found a lot of those meetings around our St. Charles area are really, really good meetings, but I haven't been there in a while. I probably need to jump back in because I still have a lot of friends over there.
So here's a question that I have that has just come up recently, I guess, in my own mind. Outside of going to church on Sundays, I also do a Bible study.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that I get filled up in that Bible study. Because when I go to Celebrate Recovery, I'm serving there because I'm on the team. I'm a state rep. People are always asking me questions and stuff. I'm serving.
Yes.
So how do you, what are your feelings on getting filled in something other than a recovery program?
I think it's, especially Bible study, it's needed.
Yeah.
We have to have stuff outside of recovery. We do. But it all has to do with each other, don't it? I mean, even
Yes.
if we
Oh,
look at
yeah.
the Bible, 90% of it is recovery, but we need things because we have to learn, we have to eventually learn a healthy balance. So, I mean, I think for the first 2 years of my recovery, I went to a meeting every day.
Yeah.
Never missed for the first couple of years of my recovery. Then I started backing down. But then as I backed down, let's talk about the evil spirit leaving us. I had to fill it with something.
Mhm.
So what was I filling that time with then? Because you got to be careful with it, you know, and how you do it. I think a Bible study is a phenomenal thing.
What about disc golf on Wednesday mornings?
Disc golf is probably better than Bible study.
Really? You would say that?
Yeah, look at James. Look at his look.
Don't get
Pastor
me
Shane,
wrong.
everybody, Pastor Shane.
If I didn't have
Send all correspondence regarding this to Pastor Shane
Yeah, please do.
podcast.
And then you could come on and play disc golf with us, and you'll see why.
Yeah, I'm actually working on my work schedule so I can come back to the Bible study because I enjoy that Bible study very much. I was there for
Oh, yeah.
4 years.
We're going to do Book of Ephesians starting
Ooh,
this week.
finally we're getting back into the Bible and not watching videos.
Oh, there'll be videos, but they'll be decent videos
When does it start?
this Saturday.
All right, everybody hear that? this Saturday, June
10th.
10th.
10.
10th.
10th.
Yes.
You gonna be there or be square?
I will be there if my boss allows it. If I can come in late and work late.
Which
Just-
boss?
Yeah.
My boss, the one I work for.
Heather?
Heather encourages me to go. Okay.
Just because she wants you out of the house.
Yes, she wants
It's
mine.
not that. She knows because
Get
she
out.
know
Leave
no,
me alone. Ah.
the Bible study was a big filling thing I did in my life, and my wife knows that. And she's upset the fact that I go to work on Saturday mornings instead of going to the Bible study because I enjoy that Bible study and I got filled regularly, not just like at a recovery meeting.
So I wasn't the only one.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm going to ask and work around the times so I can do that and then go straight to work.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that'd be
That's
fun.
my plan.
Yeah.
That'd be wise if she let you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because okay, let's just go a little bit. What we've been doing at the Bible study is I'm not going to say what the series is, but it's kind of a long series, and everything that we've been doing for the last 2 months of this whole series has felt like recovery. It's nothing but recovery. Just
recovery for church folks.
right. It's non 12-step recovery. You know, watered down kind of, if you will. At least that's how I felt about it.
But it was still filling. It was
Oh,
still
yeah,
filling your
yeah,
cup.
yeah.
So good.
Right. I mean, not the video portion. The portion that fills me is the discussion afterwards. That's the best part of it all.
Yeah.
And building those relationships. And being torn down while you're being built up at the same time. It's very I don't
Very
know,
Jesus like.
kind
Very
of, yeah.
Jesus-like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, yeah, it really is.
Yes. Because
Only way to look at that.
we average about 12 people in the Bible study.
Yeah, if we could only get them to do a step study, it would be so amazing.
But
for
that
them.
was just the thing. We need to get back on the subject, I think. But I was
Well-
just going to say real quick, back on the thing, as we mentioned over and over again, that you guys, this is steps 3 and 4. This is steps 5 and 6. Are you guys not realizing that everything you guys won't show up on Thursday nights to do with us, we're doing right here, right now?
Right, yep.
Yeah,
And
it's
we-
because it's named something else.
Yeah, well, I
Right.
understand.
It don't
that.
have recovery in the name. That's all you got to do is take recovery out of the name and they'll do it. Everybody I counsel does a 4-step. They just don't get told this is a recovery 4-step.
Mhm.
Mm.
Because if you do, they're not going to do it. Oh, whoa, I don't have that problem. So you just take
Yes,
the
you
word-
are codependent.
Yeah, so you just take the name recovery out of it. You use the same questions to walk them through the steps and you have fun. They'll do it and they won't mind it. Then afterwards you tell them, all right, no, you just went through the steps. Now you're going to lead a step study. Thanks.
Is this going to be a meeting that we have at the new building?
Well, yeah, because it's called Reclaiming Hope. It don't have the word recovery in it.
Yeah, I think
Hmm. Intentionality. So does it matter for a newcomer what fellowship they go to? If I'm just getting into recovery, what are you going to tell somebody?
Get to a meeting.
But what does that mean? Like if you ran into me, you go to Celebrate Recovery, you go to AA. What are you going to tell me to do?
Try them all. Try one you like.
Right.
Yeah.
And then keep going to a meeting until you find one you're comfortable with. Because that's the sorry, I did yelled. That's the biggest thing with people who come into AA and they go to a meeting that's not good. And they're out there. There's over 1,000 meetings in the St. Charles County and St. Louis County area a week. So there is no excuse as to, well, I don't have time to get to a meeting. There's literally one from 6 a.m. till 3 o'clock in the morning. And you can find a meeting. You found time to use, you found time to drink, you can find time to get to a meeting. You can literally go from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting for 12 straight hours if you wanted to. So you're going to find one where you connect with people, and you have to do that. The problem is we're so uncomfortable in that beginning, and convincing somebody. I think it's amazing when people come off the street and come into AA, and they're like, I've got 24 hours sober, and they come back the next week, and you got a week. The next thing you know, they're doing this thing coming off the street. I'm like, I couldn't do that. I physically couldn't do it. but it's great for them, and they keep coming back to the meetings that they like, and that's what you got to do.
So it's okay if I go to AA and NA, Celebrate Recovery. Can I do all of them, or do I have to stay with do I have to pick one and then find the meetings I like? What am I allowed to do?
None of them are exclusive.
Yes, they are.
Which one?
A closed meeting for AA.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
about any.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you have to
Yeah.
make sure if it's an
Yeah.
open meeting or a closed meeting. Found that out the hard way.
Even then,
Right.
yeah, because Amy's coming with me to a closed meeting, and I wasn't paying any attention, and they just say, "Hey, this is a closed meeting," and then she'll say, "Hey, I'm not in, I'm in Al-Anon," and then they'll say, "Well, we'll let her stay," or whatever,
Sure. As long as it's a mixed gender meeting too.
Yes,
Yeah, there's
it's
men-
not
We ran
a
into that
men's
too.
closed meeting, or so they'll have to pay attention to that. But am I okay to do different fellowships?
Yes.
I was going to say, I hope so. I do.
Well, good. I know a lot of people have that question. I just went through this with another guy, and we're going to talk sponsors in just a moment. Does it matter where my sponsor is? What if I go to Celebrate Recovery mainly, but the guy that I've really, like, I love, hear, and share, and he has something that I want is in AA, but I go to Celebrate Recovery because I really don't like AA.
Do you want to get into the meat of it, or you just want to in generalities? In generalities, it doesn't matter. But so recently coming into this, someone is a leader for a Celebrate Recovery, one of the ministry leaders, and the church said, "Well, that's great that you have a sponsor in AA, but we want you to have a Celebrate Recovery sponsor." So you might run into that, but that's going to be kind of probably an outlying case
Yes.
rather than the norm. See, we're talking about normalcy.
Yeah. All right. But I actually, so I do go to an AA meeting, but I don't know if I would actually feel comfortable being a sponsor to somebody in AA right now, because my recovery has been Celebrate Recovery for so long. Yeah, I started going to these AA meetings so I get that different feel, but to be a sponsor for somebody in AA, because reality, I've got just so many days in AA as opposed to the years in Celebrate Recovery. I just wouldn't feel right. Is that?
Well, and on top of that, was that your drug of choice?
No.
Was alcohol? Yeah. See, if alcohol wasn't your drug of choice, is someone in AA going to want you to be their sponsor? Let's flip it around.
I wouldn't have a problem with it. I personally wouldn't. I've also been to meetings, and it makes me so angry. I've been to AA meetings where they're like, if you're an addict, you're not an addict in this room. I mean, they've straight up said that. And I'm like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So,
Addiction is addiction.
yeah.
You would think they'd come together and just be Addicts Anonymous. Because that's, like you said, it's the exact same thing.
It's the same thing. And I know
Celebrate Recovery.
Yeah. But I know people that are addicts that come to AA because they enjoy AA more. And there's a lot more AA meetings. I mean, there are plenty of NA meetings, but there's a lot more AA meetings. And they like the fellowship of it, because there's always something going.
Yeah, there used to be almost 400 meetings just in St. Charles in a week of NA meetings. Now, since COVID, I don't know how many are still around.
That dirty pandemic.
I would say at the beginning, Jeremy, most people say only an alcoholic can help an alcoholic. So my sponsor has to come from AA and have a drinking problem. I would say your mindset now is somebody that's been in recovery for a while. We understand that the pain we feel is the same no matter what the symptom is. The root is the same. And so anybody could sponsor anybody. Now, how you sponsor depends on how you were sponsored.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole thing. He's never been walked through the big book. Now I could walk him through the big book like my old sponsor did to me. And so I could teach him those things. And then, we're always going to just sponsor how we were sponsored. I still sponsor like my NA sponsor. My first sponsor sponsored me. I love it, writing definitions and doing more writing assignments than anything else, because that's how I was sponsored.
And you love to write.
Hate writing.
You love to write.
but I hate writing, but I love writing.
Yeah.
It's that love-hate relationship that I've developed over the years. So some fellowships, let's go through them real quick, and then let's go. Because I was trying to think of a bunch of them today. There's all kinds of anonymous, AA, NA, CA, HA. Who knows? I mean,
Overeaters Anonymous.
Yeah, there's-
Oda, Alateen, Al-Anon.
Wait, can we go over HA again? Because you say that, and I think
Heroin Anonymous,
Haters Anonymous, but
Ha.
okay,
Haters Anonymous, Heroin Anonymous.
heroin. Okay,
But I mean, if you hop on, there's so many. I took them to when I preached one weekend, and I showed the whole how many that there were. It is crazy with the amount of them. But anything for addiction you could do, all the way to food issues. Al-Anon, I think, is important to mention, though.
where's SA?
SA I didn't put on there.
Yeah,
He's
Don't. He was going to do his Mexican thing again.
Jeez.
You knew where he was going. I mean,
Oh,
as soon as
no.
you said that.
No. For those who struggle with sexual integrity,
Yeah, sexual addiction. So there's there's not a whole lot of those meetings around, but they are around. And there's some really good help. But I like talking about the ones that get left out. Al-Anon, Nar-Anon,
Alateen. I've never actually heard of that one.
Alateen, yeah.
yeah, I've heard of
Is it like the landing for AA?
Yes.
Alateen has
Well,
been
no.
around since I've been a teenager.
Yeah. The Alateen is the
A long
codependent side of
Okay.
teenagers.
Yeah, I've never heard that term before.
Yeah. Of course, Celebrate Recovery. And what about Smart Recovery?
What about it?
Recovery? There's Dharma Recovery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of recovery. So there's more than one way to get to where you want to go. I guess that was the biggest. We always talk 12 steps.
Well, the 12 steps don't change very much between each of the different programs.
Nope.
So,
I guess that was my big question about, am I allowed to go to any of them? Really, they're the same.
Right.
A lot of it has to do with length of time. An hour and a half meeting, or a Celebrate Recovery where you might be there 4 hours.
4 hours.
Think about it. Think about what time people get there to set up, and then what time some people close.
If you're serving, to
Yes.
set up, yeah. But
But
if you're big enough, hopefully you have a team to set up and a different team.
But
to
if you're
close.
serving in fellowship, you show up a little early and stay.
A little late, yeah.
Yeah.
But think of that. But to me, that makes more sense because that way I'm spending less time at home by myself in my own thoughts and feelings. I'm around other people. And if I get home at 10 o'clock as opposed to 8 o'clock at night, if I'm just going to like an hour meeting for AA or whoever, and it's over at 8, what am I going to do for the next 2 or 3 hours before I want to go to bed? I understand some of them have fellowship events and they go right after their meeting, they go to wherever to eat something or to do whatever.
Well, my 7 o'clock meeting, they just go right outside and end up. Everybody seems to hang out there for at least another hour, just fellowshipping and talking.
Okay, yeah.
So there is fellowship there. I mean, I leave because I got to go meet with one of my sponsees, but still, there's still the fellowship there. That's one of the things I really like about the 7 o'clock meeting is that there is fellowship.
And that's 7 a.m. or 7 p.m.?
7 a.m.
7 a.m., yeah.
Yes.
Well, you have your whole day ahead of you.
Yeah.
see, yeah, Celebrate Recovery does it usually in one night. Now, not everybody does a dinner. Not everybody does dessert.
Correct.
You know, some people just can't. They don't have that in their
Which is fine.
budget, or they just don't want to open the building. Whatever the reason may be. How important is fellowship?
Very.
On a scale from 1 to 10?
1 to 5. 10's just too much.
1 to 5?
Yeah,
6.
10.
because I have written here meeting before the meeting and the meeting after the
The
meeting.
meeting before and the meeting after, to me, are
Right.
the most. I mean, don't get me wrong, that the thing in the middle is great, but the meeting before and the meeting after. So my home group meets on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. And I love that meeting. I was talking to one of my friends, and she's been coming to that meeting for years. And she was talking about how she remembers when there'd only be like 7 or 8 people at the meeting. Now we're putting in at least 50 people on a Saturday morning in that meeting.
That's awesome.
And it's good to see because you have the people that have the 7 days, 30 days of recovery. And then you have the guys with the 37, the 42
Years.
and years. And there's just a whole bunch in the middle. And when they share their struggles, and it's a big book study. So we start reading from the first page and we go all the way to the end until we're done. And then we read a chapter a week. That's what we do. But we started doing this. We meet for breakfast at 7 a.m. And there's anywhere between 10 to 15 guys that show up. And just sitting there and talking, drinking coffee, eating stuff that's going to clog our arteries.
Coffee.
You know, Then going to the meeting and then seeing everybody that didn't show up to breakfast, talking to them. And then we take a break. That's what I love about my meeting. My meeting goes from 8 to 9:15. So after we're done reading our chapter, we take a short 7 to 10 minute break. So then everybody goes out and gets a smoke break. Everybody talks. And then it gets that newcomer a lot more comfortable because he's not sitting there for a full hour and 15 minutes. So he gets to go out and talk to people, and people say, "Hey, you're a newcomer, welcome." And that just helps out tremendously. I wish every meeting did that personally.
That's why I liked our 1.5 hour meetings in NA, because you went through the readings at the beginning, and they might do something else, but then you had a break.
Mm-hmm.
And I like having the break in the middle. I think that's what I liked about Celebrate Recovery so much. We did dinner. We had a little bit of a break before large group. Then after large group, you had a little bit of a break. Then you went to open share groups. And after open share groups, we had desserts. And I mean, I love food, so everything was okay that way. Mm-hmm. So the meeting before the meeting and the meeting after the meeting, I would say, yeah, that's very important. Mm-hmm. But so is sitting down and listening to the actual meeting, staying off your phone, staying in your seat. I mean,
the one thing I especially tell my guys is going to a meeting is where you're going to really practice acceptance, because there's going to be people that talk or people that come in that are going to bother you. They'll make your skin crawl when they talk. And it's like, man, you just got to let it go, because that's what that person's doing for their recovery. And I can't judge them for that. I may not agree with it, because some people like to steal time, I would say, talk too much, like to hear themselves talk. And it's not for me to judge them on that. So, I don't know.
We always said hijack the meeting.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Hi, Jack.
What I was going to say is I went to a meeting, and the majority of the people in there were putting their recovery before God. And somebody grabbed me up at the end of the meeting, was like, "Hey, how do you sit in there through all that?" Because all they kept talking about was recovery first. And they weren't putting God before everything else. I said, well, that's what worked, just what you had said. That's what worked for them. I can't be mad at them because they chose that. That's not what I choose. But if that works for them and they're got 22 years, then that's what's working for them.
And they're going to have to make that right with God on the other,
That's
on the
on
other
them.
side.
That's their side of the street, not mine.
Right.
I don't know, man. There's all kinds of ways you could go with that. Are they really putting recovery before God? Do we know that? Or do we just hear that in there because
it was their quotes out of their mouth is what was heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, God knows our heart, because I could tell you, if I wouldn't have put recovery in front of God for a while, I don't know if I'd still be here.
It got me thinking, because the first question we asked was, what does recovery mean to you?
Yeah.
And now thinking about that, I would say God is my recovery.
Yes.
Like that's it. If I had to sum it up into one word, that's it. God is my recovery. Because without him, I'm nothing. I don't have anything. I don't deserve anything. It's the grace and mercy, which is another podcast that you should go back and listen to if you're just now listening to this one for the first time. That's right. But thinking about that now, I have to put, like, the moment I wake up, God has to go number one. And I struggle with this because I do. Driving to work, somebody's going to make me angry. Then I'm like, God, I just talked to you this morning about being nice, and I'm not being so nice right now. So forgive me already, But it's just having that conscious contact with God. Just consciously know he's there.
But that grows over time.
Correct.
And we do need to put God first in everything. But I could tell you at the beginning, I know I didn't. And it took a while to finally do it. And so hopefully they don't have a whole lot of, I mean, hopefully they do have a whole lot of clean time, but hopefully they start to put, like, if that's important to them, if God is important to them, their spiritual walk is important to them, they'll put God first, I hope.
When did it click for you? When did you realize that you were putting God before your recovery?
I was putting all kinds of things before God, money and my recovery. So it wasn't until July 2013 that I finally realized God was about fourth on my list. And he sent me home from California without a job or anything else. That was when my whole world got turned upside down and I figured a lot out. Because God was important, and I know God kept me alive for a reason. I was trying to figure it out, but I was still putting recovery and money ahead of him. Recovery, money, and myself, obviously. So that's why I said God was about fourth on the list. And, yeah. And it was, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's just where I was. But it took that time in California to realize what I had done. And then he sent me home the way I needed to be. Obedient without anything. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
So it took a while.
So moving on.
So why do I need a sponsor? Because I know we talked a little bit about sponsors earlier. We went down and talked about service work or some other things, but how about a sponsor? Why do I need a sponsor?
It's biblical.
It is.
Yes. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. Matthew 28:19-20.
And yes, he was with us always, but don't call me Shirley.
Oh my God.
So how does go and make disciples of the whole world or all the world line up with sponsorship?
As if we're going out making disciples, as it says for us to go and do, we are sponsoring individuals into becoming like we are and being disciples, and so they can go and do the same thing. Just like as sponsors, we sponsor people, we guide them to where they got to go, so they can do the same to to all people as it keeps going down the line. That's my thoughts, anyways.
That sounds about right.
Okay, cool.
So like we were talked about last week, it's a pyramid scheme. Or is it more like a family tree?
I like the family tree.
I like
Yeah,
that.
true, yeah.
We'll go with that one.
Because if Jeremy is my sponsor, then I sponsor Derek. Derek is Jeremy's grand sponsor, right?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
Yes.
If Jeremy sponsors you and you sponsor me, then Jeremy is my grand sponsor.
That's what I just
That's what
said.
it just-
That's not what you said.
That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what I just said.
I heard.
I'm not getting a lot of oxygen to my brain, but I understood what I said. And Jeremy understood what I said.
I knew exactly.
So how do you find a sponsor? How do you get a sponsor?
Go to a meeting.
Just go to a meeting and
Yeah, but
do they
ask him.
hand them?
Ask
Do they just hand me a sponsor then at a meeting?
They do.
They hand you a
actually,
list of numbers.
Some meetings will do that. Yeah, they do hand you a list of numbers.
I mean, let's think about this through a newcomer's, through the lens of a newcomer. You're telling me just go to a meeting. So I'm going to go to a meeting. I'm going to walk in and they're going to be like, hey, here's your sponsor. Here's your this. Here's your that. You're
Wouldn't
good.
that be nice?
Yeah, it doesn't happen that way. At least
No.
I've never been to a
Actually,
meeting
it
where it happens
happened
that way.
with somebody at the brick house. I walked right up to him and said, hey, this is your sponsor. And they walked, and it's worked so far.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Well, I'm just saying. that.
Okay, so now let's be real and talk about how do you get a sponsor? How do you find a sponsor?
Do you want actual steps of finding a
Well,
sponsor? Yeah.
for somebody that's listening, that's new,
Find someone who's talking and you're listening to what they're saying. And you're gravitating towards that person because of what they're saying about their recovery, about their sobriety.
I agree. Find somebody who has what I want.
Yeah.
Not in that
So a
jealous,
car?
not that jealous way, right?
Not like wanting Jesse's girl, but
Correct.
yeah.
You know, Okay.
So they got a real good job. They have a nice car.
Not at all.
I want to borrow it.
No.
No. Life wise, like the inconceivable part of someone's life, their sobriety, maybe their walk with God,
My
their
sponsor,
recovery.
yeah, I've shared this before. My sponsor is 37 years of sobriety, and we text almost every morning. I would say every morning. At least he's sending me something. I'm sending him something every morning. We meet on Saturdays, and when he first came to me, which was a long story because I got fired from my other sponsor, rightfully so. Yeah. I started going through my list of sponsors today when this question came up, and I'm like, man, because I tried self-sponsoring a lot, and self-sponsoring does not work.
Does not work.
No. But when he talked, and even to this day, his wife just retired just a couple weeks ago, and he's talking to me. He's like, we've been married for a really long time, but now that we're both home together, it's kind of like, whoa,
Yeah.
And here he is, doesn't think about drinking, like we don't even talk about that obsession. There's nothing, none of that comes up anymore. It's literally just how to live life. It's like walking through this struggles, and Shane, you're not really my sponsor, but you are my mentor and my friend. And so, you and I talk all the time. And it's like, I want what Shane has, not because granted, I'm getting into pens and.
Your house is nicer, though.
But I don't care about the house. It's just the happiness. It's just seeing the peace that comes from following a Christ, a Christ-led life, and knowing that that's my ultimate goal. Is not, my riches aren't here on earth. My riches are upstairs.
Amen.
That's your retirement plan.
That is, yes. Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking Grandma made something because you said his riches were upstairs. So I thought maybe Grandma made some good dessert again or
She
something.
made 2 loaves of banana bread, and I think the kids and Amy ate most of it all.
Oh, jeez.
man.
I'm hoping for some more gooey butter cake.
Right?
Yeah, and I think that's one thing I love about sponsorship is I want what you have. I want that sobriety. I want that recovery that's in your life. I want the peace that you have, the healing that you have found,
Yeah.
the life change that I see in you, that I hear you speak. Anytime they share experience, strength, and hope.
But I also want somebody who's going to call me on my BS. I need somebody who's going to say, "You really going to do that? Are you sure you want to do that?" Or, "No, you're just an idiot."
I really like when you get called an idiot.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, dummy,
Yeah. You've called me that a few times.
let me know how that works out for you. I like when they call you afterwards and they say, "You know what? You were right. That was pretty stupid of me." Yeah, it was.
Well, okay, let's flip the coin a little bit here. As sponsors, what's the best way to handle someone who says they want to be sponsored, but they don't listen, they don't contact, they don't do the assignments?
I am not going to work harder for your recovery than you do.
Let me know when you're ready to begin.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I did tell one guy, I told him, don't contact me anymore. Because he would only call me like when he was
Afterwards?
at his worst, right?
Mhm.
It's like, look, buddy, you've done nothing. Find somebody that you connect with. Because obviously you don't want to listen and do the assignments. And I have people that I really want to work with, but I say no because I want to work with you. But if you're not going to do the work, then do us both a favor. You go find somebody, let me take care of these people. When you're ready, you let me know. And if I have room, I would love to do it. But you have to want it. You have to want it more than I want it for you. And that's hard because I really want it for everybody, even if it means I have to snow globe them.
Right. I think a sponsor's got to really challenge you too in your recovery.
I would say the challenge is big. Something we skipped. Can I have a female sponsor me? How about in the fellowship of AA? I'll let Jeremy sit. I know he's not down here yet. But what's wrong? What's wrong with me finding a female sponsor?
Do you want to stay married?
I'm not talking about for my wife, but I'm just saying. Yes, It's not about me being married. It's just about how I end up walking
Hmm.
if I were to do so. But I would say make sure that we're with same sex, men with men, women with women. The last thing we need to do is cloud our judgment. And we already talked about relationships and money ruin more recovery than anything else. So,
And the fact men and women think differently,
Completely.
completely differently.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Last I heard. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you're back.
so anyway, I asked the question: can I find a woman sponsor if I wanted one?
I'm sure you could find a woman sponsor.
Should I?
No,
Do they allow that in the Fellowship of AA?
absolutely not.
I know in some of the old books, like NA, you found a story about a woman that sponsored a man back in the day, but
Mhm.
that don't really happen now that we have a lot more men and women both in recovery. But
And I, being a married man, would never want to put myself in a situation where I'm going to make myself question myself, or make my wife. Like that's disrespectful to my wife and God, and there's no way I would do that.
good deal. Did have a question that I wanted to ask people, but then we'll go into accountability partners. Or here, let's go into accountability partners, and I'll ask that other question. What is an accountability partner versus a sponsor, maybe? My CR people probably know this one really well.
Well, the thing that I use that I've heard, I can't remember exactly who shared it with me, but it's like you're in a game of football and the process is getting the ball to the other end, which is your recovery, the process, right? Coach is your sponsor. Your sponsor is your coach. He's the one calling the plays. He's the one saying what to do. The accountability team is is the team that's there to help get get you to the other side. While the sponsor's calling the shots, the accountability team's trying to get you to through the process of recovery.
So your teammates, your line mates,
Yes, your
your
line.
O line.
Yeah, whatever you want to. Actually, it's a defensive line.
If they're moving the ball down the field, that would be your O line.
Right, but
If you're stopping somebody, that would be the D line.
if they're calling me out on my BS, that's a defensive action.
We were talking
Wow.
about going down the field with the ball. So
Let's just say
Great
it's your
analogy.
teammates. Your
Your
teammates are your
teammates.
accountability buddies.
Yes.
I put battle buddies because,
Yeah,
Super Battle Brothers.
yeah. That's all.
Yeah.
I got the battle bros.
Sure.
I got the battle bros.
Battle buddies.
So what is the most important thing for a newcomer to know or to do?
Go make coffee.
You know, sometimes I don't know what he does, but sometimes duct tape
I left
would work well.
I left the house for this.
So really, what is the one thing that if you could give that newcomer that advice, what's the most important thing for them to do, or at least to know?
Once
What
they've
should they do
gotten
first?
once they've gotten inside the building,
Somebody wanting to walk in, they stumbled across our podcast because they Googled recovery and we came up.
poor bastards.
So what is that one thing? What should they do?
Don't look at me first.
Well, we're looking at you. first.
I want to hear what you guys have to say first, so I know what to say.
To the newcomer, you're right where you're supposed to be. You're right where God wants you. Keep work. It works if you work it.
So throw a bunch of cliches at them.
can't stand it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He says I can't stand them now
I
that
just-
somebody else is doing them.
It's just bad.
They sound so dumb when they come out of your mouth, Derek. They sounded good when it came out of mine.
Yeah, right. You know, they'll. What I usually like to say to the newcomers, "Hey, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
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 Keep coming back." I'm not gonna say works if you work it, because I usually don't remember that one. But
But now he's going to say it a few times. I'll remember it.
Right.
oh gosh, no, I hope not.
But what should they do first besides walk in the door?
That's the
I mean,
hardest
that's
part, right?
that is the hardest part. But
If somebody's just listening, who's new to recovery, who's never been to a meeting, especially, or only been to a few, I would say, just listen. Just sit there and listen. Don't come in and start spewing. Oh my gosh, you don't understand what I've done. And we talked about that last week.
We did, yeah.
Because nobody cares. I don't.
That and you can't out-sin God.
No, you can't. But just take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth. Just listen. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Questions are good.
Questions are good.
My first outside meeting I went to, I left treatment. And they said, go straight to a meeting. And I'd never been to a meeting. So I went to a meeting, and people were getting up and walking outside. There's people talking, and they're walking outside. And we called him Angry Scott. And Scott is his name, obviously. But we called him Angry Scott. And this is what he said. All these people walked back in, and we did key tags after a little while, right, to celebrate anniversaries or birthdays is what they call them, anniversaries, because they're earned. And so we were doing them, and so many people grabbed these white key tags, which is that recommit. It's our blue in Celebrate Recovery. And so he's sitting there watching, and they opened up the floor for sharing, and he said, you guys want to know how to quit getting those white key tags? Sit down. Shut up, put your phone away, get a sponsor, work some steps. And that stuck with me. So I didn't hold my phone during meetings. I didn't speak. A matter of fact, I didn't speak at an NA meeting until I had a year of sobriety. It was my first NA meeting I spoke at because I had to share at my home group. First time I ever shared in NA. I sat there and I listened. I didn't know what the hell I was doing yet. So I listened to the people that had a lot more sobriety than I did. I got a sponsor, and I worked the crap out of some steps. That worked. That's why I said that the listen part is beautiful. Sit down, shut up, and listen.
Yeah. And if you have something that you really want to say and you don't say it, that's what we tell people all the time. Stay around after the meeting and talk to somebody. Share it with somebody. I want you to share it. I don't want you to keep it in. So if there's something that's burning in your heart, share it. Just don't do it in the meeting when you're new. Just don't do it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, listen. I mean, I got so much more out of listening. I feel like at Celebrate Recovery, I have to speak most of the time.
It's because you think you're important.
That's true.
No, I think they look at me like I should be speaking. In NA and AA,
they don't know who you are.
They do. But I just love to listen.
It's kind of a big deal.
No, I'm not even a big deal in my own mind. So,
oh my gosh, it's our BS meter right there going off the charts.
And so I love going to NA and AA because we'll find a lot more clean time in those fellowships. And I love hearing some of those old timers speak. And it's just so much, to me, it's so much fun.
So you said you had some questions. We seem to be running, a little long tonight. So you want to go through these questions and give people.
What time is it? Is it
8:20?
Ooh. Yeah. Well, we've been going.
Yes, we have. So that's why we don't.
All right. So here it goes. We'll leave all the rest of this out. So what is one thing that we like to say to the newcomer?
Welcome.
Well,
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Keep coming back.
Keep coming back.
So a call to action for our people. This is, to me, something that is pretty important. It's almost like as a follower of Christ that Keith always loved to do.
Oh, right?
Yeah. Whenever he preaches it at the end of his sermon, as a follower of Christ, these are the things. So everybody that listens to this podcast, the email address is up there, awakensoberpodcast@gmail.com. I want you to send this in. One, what fellowship do you attend or attend the most? I'd love to know what fellowship that you're in, because what I'd like to do is find somebody with all of them, right? Eventually have Amy email us and whoever else. So what fellowship do you attend the most? What has been the biggest challenge in your recovery? What has surprised you the most about recovery? Because I was surprised about a lot of things. And send us a mini testimony. And so you could speak it into your app if you need to, or you can write it, type it, however you want to do it. But we'd love to have a mini testimony. And eventually I want to start, or we want to start bringing on some people. I know I want to bring on quite a few people. I just keep thinking of people that it'd be fun to interview them and talk about what recovery's done in their life. So send us those. And so the one guy that I was talking to earlier, Brent, have fun, because now you know your assignment.
Start cracking, Brent.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Brent, I need you to handwrite this stuff. Don't type it. You could take a picture of it when you're done.
There you go. Well, if he's going to send it to us, though.
Hey, he could take a picture of it and send it to me, and he could actually upload the picture too. But yeah, I want him to write his mini testimony because his handwriting's so pretty. Oh God! And he's got plenty of pens.
I'm not. Okay, so
On that note,
right. All right, we just thank you all for joining us here tonight as we talked about recovery. If you like what you heard, follow us on Spotify, comment. If you like what you see us on YouTube, like, share, comment, hit the little bell so you get the every time a new episode comes out. Thank you.
And if you didn't like us, do it anyway.
You guys have a good night.
Have a great week, everybody.
enjoy.